You need to hear this. Short-term rentals in Summit County. Yes, there have been lots of changes and rules being put into place regarding short-term rentals in Summit County. I'm sure you've heard. What is a short-term rental? Well, if you are renting your residence or part of your residence for a period of less than 30 consecutive days, you are operating a short-term rental, and you have to be licensed and you have to pay taxes. So keep watching. We've got information on all the towns, highlights on what you need to know, and resources where you can get information for your situation.
Think again if you were of the mindset that nothing has changed with short-term rentals in Frisco since the fall of 2022. As of February 23rd, 2023, the town has reached its limit of 900 STR licenses issued. That is 25% of the 3,600 residential housing units in Frisco. There is a wait list you can easily get on for $25. It doesn't matter what size your property is in Frisco, it's a $250 annual license renewal fee. The maximum occupancy are 2 people per bedroom plus an additional 4. So a 2-bedroom property, you can rent it to 8 people. And like everywhere else, each STR has to have a responsible agent who is available 24/7 to respond to and resolve any complaints.
Hey, here's the scoop on the town of Silverthorne's short-term rental regulations. 3 zones. The first zone is the neighborhood zone, capped out at 10%. Zone number 2 is the town core and riverfront, capped out at 50%. Zone 3 is deed restricted, and you cannot short-term rent. Deed restricted properties is completely prohibited. The max occupancy is 2 people per bedroom plus 2 people. The fees to get a short-term rental license range between $150 to $500 depending on the size of the property.
Okay, I know what you're thinking. What about the rest of Summit County, unincorporated? What's a NOS? What's a ROS? What are we talking about here? There are pockets of unincorporated Summit County in every town. We're talking about Wilderness in Silverthorne or Dillon Valley in Dillon. Those are considered neighborhood overlay zones, or the NOS, versus the ROS, which is a resort overlay zone. Here I'm talking Keystone, Copper, Tiger Run Resort, a little bit of unincorporated Summit County at the base of Peak 8 in Breckenridge. In the resort overlay zone, there are no caps on the number of bookings or the number of licenses that will be issued. Neighborhood overlay zone, 35 bookings. That's a cap that they have put in place. They've also said we are going to limit the number of licenses. It could be a couple of years before licenses are available if you are in the neighborhood overlay zone. The neighborhood overlay zone has a cap on the number of bookings, not nights that you can rent it, 35 bookings per year. Like many other towns, there is a limit to the number of guests you can have per booking, 2 per bedroom plus 2. There are so many areas in unincorporated Summit County that seem like they are in town boundaries when they're not. So please use us as a resource.
Hi, is it possible to rent your property in Breckenridge? Well, here are a few things you should know. First, you should know your zones. Second, is your property exempt? Third, know your caps. Know your zones. There are 3 zones in Breckenridge. First being the tourism zone that has the biggest cap, that's 92%. It's not quite met yet, so there are still licenses available. Zone 2 is the downtown core. That is limited to 51% cap. That cap is met, so there are no longer any licenses available there. Zone 3 is single family residential zone. That is capped at 10%. Currently no licenses available there. Those are your zones. Second I mentioned was our exempt properties. And to know if your property is exempt, there is a list, about 16 complexes on the Breckenridge website, but also some key points are it must have a 24-hour front desk, 24-hour telephone system, 24-hour on-site security. So those are some things to know about if your property is exempt.
Have you heard Dillon is open for business? I'm talking about Dillon proper here, not Dillon Valley, Keystone, Summerwood, or Summit Cove. Those aren't in the town of Dillon, they're in unincorporated Summit County. Here's the skinny for Dillon. License fee, $700 a year. You or your property manager will have to have a business license and pay taxes on your lodging income. Occupancy limited to 2 guests per bedroom plus 2. Like all of Summit County, Dillon utilizes short-term rental complaint line to help alleviate problems. At this time, the good news, Dillon is one of the few towns in Summit County that has not capped the amount of short-term rental licenses available. So yes, Dillon is open for business. You can short-term rent your property at this time.
Bottom line, in each of the towns, the county, all of these short-term rental regulations, they're clear as mud, right? So please consider Summit Real Estate a resource for you, not only for navigating those murky waters of STR regulations, but everything Summit County. We are here to help you. It would be our pleasure. And as we learn new things, we will pass them along. We got you.